Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to another stream we got going today. We're talking about Unreal. It's just me by myself today. No guest streams this time. And I have a plan that we're going to start talking about some things. Oh, Audrey's here. Oh, Glitter Daddy. Oh, new one. Dave's here. So anyway, we have a plan where I'm going to do some control break stuff, which is something I've been trying to get my head around and trying to get into, finding a reason to do it, and it's pretty overwhelming. So today, you're not by yourself. Oh yeah, that's true. I'm not by myself. I got all these great people here. It's true. Although when I start a stream, it does feel like I'm by myself. Now I feel like I have people. Yeah, last week was crazy. It was like so many behind the scenes technical problems while I was doing that stream, but it was a really great stream. I was really impressed by like how we managed to pack in so much information in those 2 hours and get through it. And now they're talking about, can we do more of those? And I'm like, oh boy, okay, see what we can do. Yeah, it was like a 2 hour of like, let's pump out as much knowledge out of this guy as we can. But I think what we're going to be doing in the future maybe is not do 2 hours, because that's a really long time to be just like pumping out knowledge. So we might do more of a webinar style. There's a webinar coming down the line pretty soon about how to sell assets. We've got a few different mentors that are part of it, and it should be pretty good. It's got Justin's working with it, Carl, and I'm trying to like find some information here on. I can click on something to actually share it. I thought I had a link here that I could share it with, but I don't have anything. But anyway, get yourself registered. It's definitely on like it's been mentioned on Slack quite a few times. I've even made an event of it for it. That posted recently, so if you go to the About section, you can find out how to register yourself. Apparently there's like over 200 people registered for it, which is pretty impressive. And click on that. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. And there's 2 meetings. One's tomorrow, and the other one's a week on Friday. And this should be some really nice information. These are awesome mentors that we have here, talking about their knowledge and stuff. Particularly about selling assets on the Unreal Marketplace, which is a very unique kind of thing to be talking about, because in the back of our heads, or at least me personally, it's like, yeah, you could probably make money on Marketplace, but the tricks of how to do it, there's a lot of nice strategies they might be able to bring to the table. So I'll definitely be trying to tune in. I don't know if I'll be available at that hour, but I'll be trying to tune in and see what kind of information we got going here. These guys are all very much part of the technical art team and part of our Unreal Tech Artist course that we're putting together. So they've all got lots of experience. It's really cool that we can tap these people whenever we want to for information. But anyway, so, you know what? I was doing all that and I wasn't screen sharing, so that's hilarious. You guys got to let me know if I'm when I'm doing that, because that's the goofiest thing I can possibly be doing. Oh, see, I'm still not doing it. This is like going back to square one here, where I did this before. Oh, it's not even the page yet. Let's do this again. So if you, little recap here. If you go to the general channel and you go to your About section over here in the corner, you can find the link of the registration and get yourself signed up. And these are the guys that we're talking about that are who are going to be doing the webinar and lots of information. Today we're going to be talking about Unreal and doing control rig stuff. There is also an interesting bit of information that John brought up on Tuesday for our open session, where 4.27 is coming out, and I haven't actually read through it yet to find out what the changes are, but sure there's some really good stuff in there that's worth waiting for. It's been kind of quietly behind the scenes of Unreal 5's release, so it's like I don't think many people will be noticing it. It's funny how my my LinkedIn page, where you get like the streams of different information from LinkedIn based on the contacts you have, which, by the way, it's a really good place to get info from. Hey, Louis here, welcome. So once you start getting connections, I don't know, for some reason I get all this feed of very relevant content, so I go through there every day and just kind of look for anything that's really neat. But like 50% at least are posts of people going, look what I did on Unreal 5, look what I've done, the scene that I've just rendered in Unreal 5, or look at this like shot or whatever. It's just everybody's trying it out and trying to figure out, like, because everybody's making amazing content. No matter what you do, it's like, wow, that is fantastic. There was one today, it was like Star Wars, and they had like the TIE fighter and stuff flying through the rocks of the demo level, and it was just like photorealistic movie quality, and I'm sure it's running real time. Pretty impressive. Let's see if there's anything in here that I can point out that looks pretty cool from this 4.27, which won't be coming out probably for another few weeks at least. Level snapshots. With level snapshots, you can record the current state of the level in a snapshot. Anyway, you can choose what to restore the snapshot. Oh, so it's like a geo snapshot. Lens distortion. Whoa. That's pretty neat. Apparently the math behind lens distortion is actually very complex. It's more than just changing the focal range. Corey! Good evening, crew. LinkedIn contact algorithm is amazing. Oh, there you go. So I'm not the only one that thinks that. Yeah, it's great. Just seems to like congregate all the excellent information into one place. And then it also brings in like any of your contacts, if they're getting like changing jobs or whatever, you'll get information on that too. So for example, today I just noticed that somebody I used to work with at Rocksteady got hired at Ninja Theory. I was like, hey, way to go. What was something else I was thinking about talking about, and I forget what it is. Oh, anyway. It'll come eventually. I've still got 1 hour and 50 minutes to go. I'll think of it. I don't see anything here that's standing out as like, whoa, that's going to be awesome. But there is a whole lot of stuff for virtual production and real-time stuff, which I think is probably where the focus is going to be. And, you know, they're probably trying to stabilize that virtual production environment as the pipeline is being discovered. Abby, hi, what are we doing today? Today we are going to be working with Control Rig, and I haven't, so one of my students had a problem today, or not this week, I mean, that they wanted to be able to take something in Sequencer and rotate it. Like, basically it's like an engine steering device, and they want to steer the ship based on, you know, the cinematic. So they've got the ship moving around in Sequencer using the translations, but they want to be able to animate a joint in that ship and be able to make it move. And that's actually really hard to do in Sequencer because there's no way to like access the joints and animate them. But you can do it with Control Rig. So, and I confirmed that with Matthew Doyle actually, that the Control Rig does support the ability to, you know, it grants you the ability to access the joints and animate them in Sequencer. And so we're going to try and replicate that in a very simple scenario so that we can sort of reproduce that concept and show, and I'm hoping it'll be my stepping stone into getting a sense of how to make Control Rigs, and then maybe we can build upon it and think about it from that perspective, because it's always been sort of a mysterious element. So there's some more discussion today with the tech artist course. It's coming along pretty good. Definitely looking at September as our kicker when we're going to start it. So lots of information coming down the line that will be able to provide it for everybody as we were talking marketing and stuff and figuring out how we're going to do it. We got lots of talented people working on that course too, so it should be pretty interesting to see what kind of reception we have for it, especially when we're talking to like studios and stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're just getting started with virtual production, it's going to be big. And then we're like, they just can't find anybody who's qualified to be able to work in it. So we're trying to fill that gap, and the sooner we can get that course out there, the sooner we can provide them with students. So yeah. Oh, Corey's interested in the technical artist course. Excellent. Yeah. That's what we want to hear. We've always been talking about doing a technical artist course, but we couldn't get the numbers. But now that there's virtual production in the whole scope, it's like we have a good pitching point where we're like, look at all these amazing things you can do as a technical artist. I think we'll be able to sell the concept enough to get enough people that we can justify making a course for it. Abby, when Unreal 5 release? From what I understand, the full release is somewhere early 2022, so it's coming. I wouldn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be exactly that time frame, but we're working towards the goal of by the time our course finishes, we'll be like, we're going to finish it like as we're building it. The last portion of our course is we're definitely wanting to integrate as much of the most recent part of Unreal 5 as we can. So we're trying to strategize it so that as information comes out about Unreal 5 and it starts to refine itself, we'll be able to integrate more of that into our course. It's so hard to like create a course content around something that isn't finished being made yet. So, but we're trying our best to figure that out, and I think it doesn't even matter if it basically one of our terms is just about virtual production. So I think there's going to be like lots of opportunity to teach about how to do it on Unreal 4, and then a lot of that's going to carry over to Unreal 5 and work with those the different pros and cons. Okay, so those actually were some of the things I wanted to talk about, so that worked out well. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to throw them my way. In the meantime, I'm going to, I think, make a new project. Actually, let's just get started in Maya first, because we have to actually build the assets we're going to work with here. I could technically use my students' assets, but I haven't asked for permission yet, so that might be a little bit... oh, hey, check out this mug. This is, by the way, I think what I was going to talk about. I didn't get to talk about it in the... hold on a sec. In the stream last week because we were too busy. But they've been giving me some merch because I'm streaming. Okay, I can't even tell what I'm looking at here. But we got this mug, and it's got CG logo on it. It's pretty cool. So these are stuff that we're trying to test out to make sure that it's good quality before we start encouraging students to get some and then awarding them and things, because sometimes we've gotten stuff like this. I got a CG Spectrum shirt on too, and it's like the quality of this shirt was not ideal, so we're like, don't do that. We're gonna find another shirt. So they gave me another one, and it was it's a lot better, the new one. And then they gave us a sweatshirt, like a hoodie as well. So, but the hoodie is like a little bit, I don't know, we're gonna look for a better option for the hoodie. But the mugs are awesome. So yeah, definitely, if you ever get a chance to want a mug, they're pretty cool. And if I use my right hand, I get to actually drink, and you'll see the cup. But I always drink with my left hand, so I don't know, it doesn't really work all the time. Audrey says she wants, ooh, cool mug. Then it breaks in the middle of a stream. Yeah, that will be a bad omen for sure if that happens. I'll be like, oh my goodness. I dropped the mug and it smashed, and I had like hot tea falls all over. I have never had that happen before, but man, I could just see that being a disaster for sure. Twitter Steady says, now you need to be sponsored by Raid. By Raid, like the bug killing pesticide? That would be an interesting strategy. I don't know where you're going with that one now. It's probably a smart joke in there, I'm just not kidding. Then it breaks in the middle. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, Louis answering the other question. Oh, the game. Is that one of the games that got released today? Because I totally did not keep track of what happened at E3. Actually, that's probably what I should be looking at today too. Is there like a good E3 summary? There's a really good game that's released today on the store that Dave was talking about, that I don't know anything about. I haven't played it yet, but Control is looks really interesting. I'm definitely going to try it. see what it was all about. So that looks pretty good. E3, how am I gonna find, is there like a good E3 summary? Anybody have any idea? No, it was an over-pushed phone game. Content creators keep pushing. Control is the good game. Okay. See, I didn't even know what Raid was. But I now get your joke. I can understand it now. Everybody was like, it was like the typical, yeah, like Raid. Let's do a Raid hard drive search. I'll just cut to a sponsors right now. Anyways, I'm obviously not very interesting here if I try to search E3 games. If you guys ever missed or have any cool ideas of things I should take a look at, my problem with looking at these trailers for games is that half the time it's all just a hype, and then in the end of the day you're like, well, there was like one game there that was interesting. And so I just kind of wait until everybody sort of filtered out what was good and what was bad, and then just look at those ones. But today also had like a stream of with Epic Games. They were talking about Lumen lighting and stuff too, so that was also happening at the same time. So like, it was a bit of an oversaturation of content. Okay, let's get to start. Let's do something here. So I'm just gonna build some really basic object, but it's gonna kind of replicate what we were trying to do with the or what my student is trying to do. Maybe I'll start with a sphere because that is kind of a similar shape of what we wanted, and then we'll do like, we need to do some kind of joint-based object back. I need to know if it's rotating or not, so maybe I'll do a cube. I wonder what the scale of my objects are right now. Let's do a distance tool. Hard to tell with Maya sometimes, because you just like, all of a sudden you find out, oh geez, my distance is like ridiculous, because my default window is just insanely huge. That, I believe, says 300. No, 512, so it's bigger than humans. That's okay. Of course, whenever you're making stuff, it's a good idea to make it in centimeters, and because that's the unit size of Unreal. So I'm gonna build an object like this that's gonna represent, you know, whatever this. Basically, it was supposed to be like a propeller type of object, and it would be able to rotate like this, but then also like kind of follow a spinning thing. I think that's the idea. Either way, it's definitely all I need to do to figure out what I need to get a control rig working. And I'll call this wing and this body. I'm going to create some joints. Audrey, enjoy your vacation, Louis. Oh. And enjoying my term 1 vacation. Oh, like the 2-week break between terms. Yeah, it's kind of nice to have those 2-week breaks because it gives you a chance to kind of digest everything that was learned. So I'm going to create a joint system. Let's see here. See if I can get my head back into the process of making stuff again. Creating a couple joints. I think this one is gonna be at the origin, and then if I make the other one like here-ish, in the center, then I could rotate it and it will kind of create that circular pattern. And then I'll parent those two together by middle mouse clicking. So this is the root, and this is the wing. And then in order for things to work when they get brought over to Unreal, everything has to be skinned. You can't have like parented geometry to joints, you have to have it skinned. So I'm gonna skin both pieces of geometry, I guess. So max 5 influences. You can do 5 influences, but I don't need 5. I'll just do another 3. Geodesic voxel is ridiculously overkill, so we'll have to do a little bit of painting, skinning stuff. Let's just apply that and see what we got. So we should have like lots of deformation going on, which is fine. So we'll grab the mesh and we'll go to paint skin weights. Actually, we should go to the option box, which gives us the options here. And we'll move this into grayscale mode. So basically we want the wing, this is the joint that we're influencing. We want that wing to be flooded 100% influenced by that joint. And then we want the root to be 0%. So this might be a review for some people, but it's like when you paint weights, each vertice is either white or black to it can only be assigned to 100% to one particular joint. So when you're painting white on something, like flooding it, you can guarantee that it will be painted black to every other joint in your skeleton. I think that's a guarantee. So it makes it really tricky though, because as you're like, when you're painting, you're going to be adding, usually what I use is you add, but if you try to replace, meaning you're painting black, it forces the computer to kind of figure out, well, what vert, if you're not going to use this vert, what joint is going to control that vert otherwise, and then it starts picking ones for you, and it doesn't always work out great. Sometimes you have to like try to lock them down so they don't get manipulated. But I would suggest just always adding when you're painting, so you're always making it white. So if you go to the, you wanted to take from another joint, you paint that one white, and that will take it away from the first one. Anyway, there's a whole lot of theory when you talk about skinning. It gets into a large conversation. But what we should have is the back end is now only influenced by the joint back here, and then this one is influencing both of them. Okay, I think we're done for building something. Let's jump over to making a new project for this. It's taking a bit to load over here. It's going to be just a regular... Geez, maybe we should try to do the flying one, eh? Maybe we can actually get it to fly. That'd be kind of fun. Let's try it out. This is a really lame template file, but yeah, it's a good starting point, I guess. I guess there's also this one too, where you could be flying around from the top-down view. But we'll do this one. I don't know, I'm starting to think that might actually be better. Where? Alright, so we want to make sure there's no content. Ray tracing off. Blueprint level. We're going to back this into just a regular temp folder, I guess. Should probably put it somewhere that actually gets backed up. Everything goes into temp folder now. I'll just call it control rig. Examples, I guess. Oh wait, I'm not doing that yet. I just need to pick the folder. So temp, select folder, and we call the project control rig examples. Create project. And when it creates a project, that's actually giving me a place where I can save my Maya file. So that's why I kind of did it in that order. So I'll jump over here. And we're gonna make we're gonna get into control rig example. So I'm gonna make a folder here called source, which is what I usually do. There's no hard fast rules about making source folders where you save your mod files, but it is where the C++ files go. So I've seen, like when I was at Rocksteady, that was kind of our pipeline, was to put all the art assets in the source folder as well as the C++, but we keep them separated in 2 different folder structures. So I've just kind of carried forward with that workflow. Maybe I should call this something other than just a raw mod file, but yeah, I probably should. Flying ship. Or I guess we'll just call it spaceship. And I was supposed to make a folder of that. It's kind of important to try to keep your files in the same place if you can. It doesn't matter, but if you do, then you don't have to let's call this rig. If you do keep it in the same place, then when you go back to update your files assets, it'll be like, oh, we know where your FBX was before, and we'll automatically update it. So that actually ends up being a nice workflow. So I'm gonna take this file now and export it as a skeletal mesh. So take the skeleton, I guess I should put these guys in into a group called meshes. So I take that and this, and we're gonna export selection. Put that into the same folder. And I do SKM for skeletal mesh, and then spaceship. And smoothing groups on, everything's off, animation off. Export selection. Okay. So we're going to import that mesh. It's detected that it's a skeletal mesh because it has joints in it, and it's asking you want to import the mesh, and just go import. Name clash wing was renamed to wing 1. I wonder if that was the joint. Maybe the mesh name and the joint name are the same. Oh my goodness, I'm so lost with my buttons here. Okay, I'm gonna change this to. Oh no, I don't want to change the joint necessarily. You can change the joint names too and re-export it, but it will say, hey, your joints have changed. Are you sure you want to do this? And, you know, it'll be pretty harmless to say yes, but it does create a lot more destruction when your joints are changing rather than your meshes. Okay, so here's our skeletal mesh with our joints. Seems to be working pretty good so far. Now, we get to make a control rig. So, now this is where I'm going to start stumbling around because I don't know how to do this very well. I'm going to see if we can do create control rig or something. What's the best way to do a control rig? Surprised it's not in here. Control rig. Maybe it's not in part of the rigging. Is it a blueprint? Or maybe it's a special class. Or maybe it's a plugin I have to turn on. I haven't even thought about that. Let's take a look here. There it is. We actually have in the tech artist course, we're going to get Matthew Doyle to a whole week on how to do control rig. So he's actually created content for Epic already, tutorial content on using control rigs. So he's already got a good head start. Hence why he's taking that week on. Normally he's not really a super flexible, I don't know, person who deals with animation very much, but in the case of control rigs, he has actually had a fair bit of experience, and he's a very technical kind of person. So more like the wiring behind it, he's comfortable with. So let's try this again. There it is, control rig. It was right in the animation section. Control rig gizmo library. Oh my goodness, that'll be interesting. Parent rig. Man, I don't know why that came up. That's interesting. Control rig is the only parent rig option we have. I guess you could start with different custom ones. So we'll call it control rig space ship. Luckily, I am making something super simple, so I have confidence that we can make a super simple thing, I hope. I guess that doesn't show very much confidence when I end with I hope. Alright, so here we are starting, and I don't actually have... Hey gosh, welcome. You don't sound confident at all. Actually, I don't feel that confident, even though I was trying to say it. I was like, I got this, and then I'm like, oh, where's our character? And I'm like, oh, I gotta figure out how to put a character in. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's nice that you joined us, guys. Appreciate that, Gavin, that you're here with us. Okay, so what do we got here? In execute script exit. This must be the beginning point. What is it? Boy, hierarchy. Ooh, that looks better. I like that button. There we go. Looks like I've actually got it imported properly now. Okay. So all we really want to do is, I think even just by having this, I'd be able to animate the joints in Sequencer. But we actually do want to create a gizmo for it that we're going to be able to select instead of actually trying to pick the joint itself. Oh, and another trick I'm going to do is open up some other control rigs and try to steal from them. So that's my fallback plan. Once I sort of exhaust some of the really easy options I have here. It seems like they have lots of good choices that I can work from, but yeah, I'm not sure what the right one is right now. So we'll maybe jumping over to a control rig pretty soon. It is interesting though. There's your IK, basic IK and stuff. Dash says, I still often watch. Oh, that's awesome. Good to see you. Been kind of waiting for 5.0 and then had to buy a new M2 Mac hard drive to get enough space for it. But it's going okay now. Awesome. That's pretty hilarious that that was your immediate requirement. I haven't done what you're doing now, so it's interesting. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, neither have I, obviously. I was talking to Will today, and he was also talking about how he's actually uninstalled the example from Unreal 5 because he's just like, he doesn't have enough space for 100 gigabytes to spare on his really fast hard drive. So he's like, I'm just gonna uninstall it, and I'll just reinstall it when I need it again. So it's hard to get a lot of space on a really fast hard drive. That's a very expensive combination right there. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that you're having an experience where you actually do see the difference between SSD and a M2, because I've only seen it on the M2 so far, but I have seen people waiting for it to load, and I'm like, oh, I don't remember it being a pain to wait for it to load. Mervan. It's really cool that you can rig right in Unreal, but I feel like it takes so much time. Yeah, well, when I first opened Maya and I was trying to rig back in the day, it took me a really long time. So this is just part of the learning experience. And then eventually it'll be like, oh, you just do this and do that and do this. Now the real strength here is that you are basically building something that you can be working on in Unreal. Like, it's hard to explain the real benefit there, but it's a missing piece in the puzzle of Unreal Engine or real-time engines, where having that control of animation control inside of the engine is like a huge thing. The real hurdle is trying to make it so that it's easy to do, though. Like in terms of animation experience of like animating the controllers needs to be easy, and the rigging obviously needs to be easy, and both of those will evolve over time. But right now it's like, yeah, it's really rough. I'm going to open up another project with the control rig so we can just have a side-by-side, because it's more interesting than me just trying to blindly grind away at trying to figure out what the heck's going on here. We have a control rig mannequin, and we have the Mercat demo, and even the Unreal 5 one had an example of a control rig. And I'm gonna grab the mannequin one, I think, because that will be a nice base to start from. Kevin says, yeah, rigging takes time. It took me weeks to get my first rig right in Maya from scratch. Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. There was always something wrong somewhere. Yeah, Mervin. Yes, sir, we should be grateful for even having such an option. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm not trying to be just having. It's a time to sort of really reflect on, like, you know, where is this going? Because it's obviously too early to be a standard that would be in an industry pipeline. But I mean, yeah, you're really, at this point you're doing your R&D, and you're just trying to figure out, okay, where is this going to sit in the future, and where is the pros and cons here. Dash says, I've had to go back to Blender, sick of chasing working Maya subs. Sucks, but yeah, free. That's interesting. Yeah, I hear you though. Yeah, the Maya's gotten a lot tougher with their subscriptions. They made it. Like, there was a student that just asked me, I think it was yesterday, and they're like, I can't renew my 1-year subscription on my Maya. And I'm like, wow, I've never had anybody have this problem before. Like a 1-year subscription. So they had to go and get Amanda to make another document or something. So they're getting really tough, which is kind of a shame, because I mean, that was the one thing that was nice about Maya, is you could just kind of like get into it, and you'd have to deal with like, oh, it's a student version, but you could still get into it. Oh boy, here we go. Gesh says, tougher and tougher subscriptions. The 12-month thing is killer. Yeah, and it's weird. It used to be 3 years, and even after 3 years, they never kicked you out. But now it's like 12 months, and they seem to be like right on the dot. Yeah, the 3 year was good, because by the time 3 years passed, like the version was obsolete anyway. So you're like, I don't care. You can have it. I'm moving on. Okay, so we got sequence, we got set transform. Can I pick something? Will it show me what I've picked? Forward solve, and this is backwards solve. Backwards solve. Bones driving controls. Oh, this is for when you're trying to basically bake motion capture onto your control rig. That's pretty cool. I wonder if that is complicated to do. This is something that HIK, the control rig that you can get by default in Maya, as well as the one that was made natively for Motion Builder, it was really good for this. You could take basically any kind of mocap where you have a bunch of joints moving and rotating, and then bake it down to your control rig so that all those keys are actually moving the animation controls instead of the joints. And then you could work with the animation controls to clean up the motion capture. And that was a key thing that made it so much easier to use. So the fact that, you know, they've got it set up now that you can take motion capture and bake it onto the control rig so that, you know, you could in theory clean up motion capture inside of Unreal. If you can get your head around how to do it. And also, you'd have to only do it on the mannequin at the moment. So there's like, you'd have to figure out also how can you make it so that it works on other characters. And maybe we'll find out that because it's the difference between how control rigs work is that it's like it kind of dynamically builds the control rig per frame or per tick. You could in theory give it different instructions, like go to where the joint is and then build the ring, like the selection ring. And you know, if you put a different skeleton in there and the joint names are the same, then will it just automatically conform the control rig to the other skeleton? It's quite possible, but I'm sure if it was that easy to do, I'm sure they would be all happy to tell everybody how awesome it is. But here, sorry, I'm making sure that windows are working over here. All right, so we got set transform bone, set transform. So these are the controls. This is the root pelvis, spline. Okay, so which one is the actual get transform, set transform? I gotta try to figure out what is the controller? Oh, interesting. When I'm selecting, I've got a bunch of options over here. Item control. And the control name. They all got control at the end, so those are all different types of objects. Bone, 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 control, control. Okay, so these are the bones, these are the controls. Get transform. We got the root controller, pelvis controller from root to root. So what is, so this must be the inner circle is the pelvis one. Pelvis controller, the outer circle is the body controller. Okay, so basically what we're saying here is we're setting the bone transform from what the control transform is. So how did the control transform know where to be? There must be a step here that I'm gonna have to go and research how to get that controller to be in the right location in order for us to even drive it. Space, global space, control. I know there's a documentation already up on Epic's site for making control rigs, so we can jump over there if we need to understand this property. But that seems to be the gist of a lot of this stuff, right? Like you've got your joint executing, it's getting the controller's position and putting it in where the bone's position is. We're not even talking about IK yet, but they do have a whole node for doing IKs. Alright, so let's just take some of that information that we've got now and try to apply a little bit of it, because we've only got 2 joints to worry about. We're going to take the root, we're going to get the was it get? I thought it was get bone or something, but get control, intruder, rotate, transform, get transform. Wow, I didn't last very long there. Get control transform. That is the right one. Hit control transform. Oh, these are set. Ah, it's a set. So I'm in the wrong one. Hopefully that's all it was. Set control what? Float, rotator, integer. Set transform bone. There's set transform. There we go. Alright. Mervin, I build the rig from scratch through the docks for my first-person shooter arms. Got some issues with the fingers not moving along with the hand. Oh yeah. Do you have any clue why that is? Reparenting did not work. Are you saying the fingers are stuck in the world and the hand is moving around, or are you saying the fingers are not sticking to the gun very well? Like, it sounds, I guess, like the fingers are stuck to the world and the hand's moving around. So, in that case, it's possible that, I mean, basically, usually fingers are stuck in the world, yeah. So the fingers usually are parented to the other part of the hierarchy. So your finger joint would be parented to your sort of like your hand joint. And so there's no worry about whether the constraint or anything disconnected between the hierarchies. It just means maybe the controller that's moving that joint is disconnected, assuming that it was using a constraint. Or you've accidentally unparented the finger controller from its parent controller. The hand was moving fine, and the rest of the fingers too. Like, it's kind of a tricky problem because there's a couple different ways it could have broke, but if you can just parent it back in, that could be useful. If it was constrained and you deleted the constraint, then you have a problem because you've got to get it back to its original position where it was supposed to be before it would lost its connection. And also when you, but it's also possible that, so something that a lot of happens with our students, and this may or may not be the case with you, but if you make a constraint and it's parented, this is, I'll just show you because it's actually a really annoying issue. Let's see if I can replicate this. So we have two cubes and we're going to connect them with a constraint. See, I actually keyed one of them. This is a key element of what my argument was. So we've got these two objects here, and none of them are keyed. I grab one, and we're going to parent one to the other. So parent constraint. So this is now driving that one. And so what I'm going to do, you can see these blue attributes are indicating that they're being driven by another controller, which is this guy. So if I was to take these controllers and I key them, it creates a blend parent, and the blend parent gets set to 0. And this is what's so ridiculous, because now it looks like my constraint's broken. And it's like, oh no, I broke it. But it's just because I keyed it. And really the blend parent just has to go back to 1. And then it'll be locked again. So it took me a long time to kind of figure out why it always does that. Because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But it's actually because if we go back to the point where it wasn't constrained, not far enough yet. Oh my goodness, how many times did I do stuff? So if I had these controllers and I keyed them first, and then we did the constraint, and so now they're constrained, and then I key this, you'll see the blend parent already is on, actually. I didn't even realize that part. It already created the blend parent and it set it to 1. So regardless of whether I key this or not, because they were already keyed before, it'll stay constrained. I don't know if that made any sense to you, but that was it happens to so many students. They're just like, it was all working, and then I went to animate it and it all broke, and I don't understand why. And it's like, oh, that's probably this, and then sure enough, it's that. So that one is a really funky one. Hopefully that was the same problem as you had, because it's easy to fix. You just turn on the constraint, you're back and going again. Okay, so we're back here again. Back to the hard stuff. For me, anyways. Let's see here. Control. Okay, so we want the bone. That's right. What else do we got here? We got bone, and then root, and then global space. So we want this. Just happens to be also called root. Those are the joint names. And then global space. Hey, it was the problem. Excellent. Ah, no, that's a happy face. The worst part is when you delete the constraint, and then you're really screwed. Now you're like, oh boy, either I rebuild it or I go back to an earlier version. Okay, and then what else they got checked here? Initial transform is coming from there. Weight is 1. Parent propagate to children. Oh, okay. So all I've done so far is nothing, but what I want to do is drive the transform to something. This joint I'm using is probably already at 000, so it kind of works out because I'm sure it's inputting 000 as a default right now. So now I got to figure out how to make a control, which maybe there's just a button up here that will do it. And related. Forward solve. Setup event. Oh man, I don't even know what those two things mean. Oh, this must be the... No, this is my own one though. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, so how do I create a controller thingy? These are the controller thingies too on the group hierarchy, rig hierarchy. So it feels like you should be able to just like bring existing ones in, but I might be totally wrong about that. Let's see if I can find, maybe you can find this thing somewhere if it's an actual object. Oh yeah, gizmos. Hexagon thick. So they're called gizmos. No. What else would I be looking for here? Man, I might have to like go find some documentation. Gizmo library. How did you know to search for that? Oh wait, was there an asset called Gizmo library once upon a time? Like there was this when I created a blueprint called Gizmo Actor. But that's not really what I'm looking for here. Alright, let's see if we can find some documentation. I wonder if they've got any updates for control rigs in 4.27. Maybe something to look into, I guess. Hey, Sarah's here! Sarah slept in. No worries. I'm doing good. Just trying to figure out how to make control rigs. I feel like I've had a stream before where I was making control rigs, and it was going way better than it is right now. I feel like I've regressed. Although I think, like, even just by these pictures, I feel like it looks different now. So hopefully we're gonna find some information here that's useful. Control rig sequence. Oh yeah, that's right. Creating sequences for control rig blueprints, control rig animation blueprint node. Wow, 4.21. Oh boy, this is gonna be so out of date. Import. So what I'm trying to figure out is how to make a gizmo in my control rig. That's where I'm stuck. Because that's the whole point of why I'm doing this. So I want to make at least one gizmo. 2-bone hierarchy. Mervin, look for the Unreal 5 control rig. It's updated and really great in the docs. Oh yeah? Except for I'm using Unreal 4. So I'll take a look though. See what the differences are. Problem is I don't even know what the first section looks like. We got get joint transforms. I think it's just modifying joints right now. I don't think they've talked about how to like build a gizmo yet. Let's see, Unreal 5 control rig leg setup. Oh yeah, they do have all these video documentations.
Hello everyone. So today we are going to explore.
Wow, this is going to be interesting. I can't help but wonder if, like, is this, maybe they're just looking for the word Unreal 5 as a search term, but meanwhile the tools might be not much different. Hard to say. I really need to watch the video first. Oh, here we go. He just made a gizmo. Let's see what happened there. Oh my goodness, it was just where I was looking, except for I didn't do it. New. Ugh. Let's see if it's still there. Go over here. New. There we go. New control. Figured it out. Thank you, video. And thank you, Mervin, for giving me the advice to check it out. Alright, so I want to make we can make a sphere, but I think it's better to make like a circular thing. Make a star. Actually, a star might be useful. Let's see what it looks like. Just because then you can tell which way you're pointing. Robert, hey, welcome. It's going good. It's nice that you joined our stream. How's your stuff going, Robert? Making some progress with that shot? Let's see here. Offset, transform, transform, transform. Initial transform. Current transform. Offset transform. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Okay, so offset transform. Robert says it's going pretty good. It's going good. Probably changing some environments and things to get it working, but it's getting there. Yeah. It's a long process, that creative road. Because you're constantly like reevaluating which way you should approach it. And I think there's a big argument for why it's really good to like keep your structure as minimal as possible. So like the assets you're using is very previs, and the lighting you're not really thinking about too much yet until you kind of figure out your pacing and your shots and your angles and storytelling. And then you can start putting in those extra polished things. But it's funny because you're working with assets that are like from Paragon assets, so they look so polished and finished. You're like, well, is this supposed to be a final shot? Like, no, I'm still working on it. Well, I feel a little bit weird about putting the scale up manually like this. Like, I feel like there's probably a better workflow, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just supposed to make the offset bigger, and that's just how it goes. Whoops. Whoops. Okay, there's our big star control for the main one. And then what they do is they get that transform, I guess. Can we just, yeah, here it is, get control, or get translation. Why does that say set? I thought I said get. Oh no, those are say set. Yeah, relative transform. Get control, oh here we go, get control. That goes into here, that goes into here. What the heck? Oh, see, my scaling just made my sphere ginormous. I have to back way out before I see it. That didn't work very well. I can't do that. Alright, well, let's try this one. Current transform? No. Initial transform. Doesn't do anything. There's got to be a better way. Oh, what's this? Gizmo transform. Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. Now we've got transform of the gizmo. We can drive that. So in theory, I should be able to move it. It moves the object around, which is kind of cool. Oh, now I'm undoing things here. Gizmo new control. I guess I should name it something. So we'll call this call it the same name as a joint, but we'll put control at the end. All right. And what else is different about that and what they've set up here? Control, root control, object thing. Oh, sorry, Robert says, yeah, it's weird to still be on prep and blocking and the assets look so good. Yeah, that's right. No, it's good though. I mean, it's nice that you have all these assets that you can work with. Yeah, we're actually trying to, I mean, I don't know if the other guys ever reached out to you, but they were definitely interested in talking to you, Robert, about working with them on their project. And they're dealing with storytelling and trying to figure out, in fact, this is what I'm working with right now, is like trying to solve one of their problems. with the control rig. But they're trying to figure out how to like just get the whole. They're doing that previs phase and trying to figure out how to get that story element working, so that it is easy to watch, but also before they get too deep into, creating really complex assets. So just to explain the shot requires a fair bit of work of like trying to set up assets that look like what they're supposed to be and environments that look like what they're supposed to be, so that you can kind of get the sense of what it is. But they were shooting for like a 5-minute short, which is crazy. So I'm not sure where they're gonna go. I don't want to discourage them from, like, they're a very ambitious group. Definitely want to do some very ambitious shots, but 5 minutes is hard to entertain. Doesn't sound like much, but it really is hard to keep people's attention for 5 minutes without having something substantial to pull them in and keep reeling them through. So it's the art of storytelling. It's not a very easy thing to do. I think that's it. Just by default, it made it so that it was correct. I don't think I have to do anything. So let's work on. Oh wait, where's my control gun? Oh shoot! Just as I said something, my control disappeared. What did I do? Did I put 0 in here? Oh yeah, these are all back to 10 or 1. There we go. I'll make another control, and we're gonna do the tail now, which is the more important controller. So we'll make a new control, and we'll call this. We'll make this one into a. I guess we could do a hexagon or something. So. It's constrained to the wing. Alright. Wing control. And now I gotta figure out how to make the position correct, but technically it's parented to this, so what is this node in between? New control space. Darn, it's all zeroed out already. Well, let's beef up the size here so I can see it. Yeah, it's just like a circle. In the wrong location. Yvonne! Hi, Simon. This was looking pretty complex and very interesting. Glad to be here. Oh, that's great. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that you caught the stream. Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to make a control rig. And we're going to build it so that we can animate it in sequencer. And it's going to be super basic, but it's a nice way to get going because it's so overwhelming when you look at these control rig setups. And I think if we can just sort of break down some of the basic principles of how they work, we can start building upon that and making something bigger. But I'm more interested as well as just when you do have a control rig, what is it like to switch it over to sequencer, set it up as an animation, and then how do you like just animate it, and how does that feel like from an animator's perspective, and what is that experience like? So, and as a bonus, we can fly around this character because we just have to put it into a template that has the flying template. So we might be able to jump from like the ship's flying, and then we hit a trigger volume, and then all of a sudden we go do a cinematic where it's flying around, and then we go back to like flying. It'd be kind of fun. But I'm struggling at this stage to figure out how you get the controls to be at the right location of the joint and without like manually placing it. It's like this index controller, which goes on the finger. Its transform has probably got some very specific values in it. No, it's just scaling actually. The location's at 0. So what's the deal? Is this got numbers in it? No. And space. Well, that is weird. Maybe I didn't parent it to the right place. Wait, what's going on right now? I'm looking at this image, I'm like, wait. The star is not in the right place. Or something's not in the right place. Oh, it's moved forward. So it did have an offset, but it went the opposite way now. Alright, well maybe I was on the right track. Let's try it again. 0, 0. Alright, so I'm going to drag it onto the root. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the strategy would be here, because if you're looking at this one, its finger index 01 is this, but I believe this is parented to the hand. Where I'm going with this. So that is connected to the hand to give us the position of the first index finger, I guess. I don't know how the heck they do the second index finger though. It's just basically offset from that one. Are they putting fixed values in there or something? There's got to be another strategy. There's got to be some way to like position constrain it or something, or drive it so that it's got the offset in there. Where are these values going anyway? Are they going into the offset values? Yeah, they are. So they're all going to offset transform. I wonder if we can find that control and see if it's doing anything particularly interesting here. We've got head, left arm, left leg, fingers. Oh boy. Sequence for each item. What? A collection. What kind of collection? Children. The children of the hand, the left hand. Oh, okay. So it's looking at all the items from the left hand that are bones. Okay. Oh, and it's replacing left hand with right hand for a union. Okay, so you're joining the collections of both these, the left hand and the right hand, of all the joints after the left hand joint, putting them into a collection. We're going through a loop cycle of all these items. And now we're going to each one and we're saying, so this is basically merging whatever the name is of the joint plus underscore control. So I guess that's that naming convention they have here, where they have the name of the joint, then they have the control at the end. So they go to here and they're setting the rotation of the joint, and they're setting they're getting the transform. So they're dynamically getting the transform position of the control gizmo and putting the rotation onto the bone. And they're setting the visibility. Okay, so that's not doing anything interesting, except for basically doing what these are doing, but doing it through a for loop that's dynamic, which is pretty neat, but still doesn't solve the problem of how did they get the position of the gizmo to be in the correct place to be able to drive the joint, because that's not making any sense at the moment. We've just got these mysterious values in there. All right, I'm gonna go and take a look at maybe some more videos, see if we can find out some more information. Because I could manually eyeball it, but I feel like there's probably a better strategy.
So I'm gonna call it.
So this person's just created a gizmo on the ground between the feet.
The reason to call this ball is because here we have this bone.
Sarah, I need a coffee to rewatch this. My brain isn't ready. Yeah, that was pretty heavy stuff there a minute ago.
This bone, and this is where
Especially since all we're doing is like saying, move the joints where the control rig is. Like, oh yeah, that would be useful. We usually just say constrain, but in this case it's like, you gotta go through a whole process. Oh wait, here we go, what's this?
It will reset back to the initial one. So you have to change, if you need to make some persistent changes, you have to make it in the initial.
Changing the scale of the initial size.
Ball or ball location. And again, right click.
Oh, what? I just missed something here. How did they pick the location?
Here change it. One.
How did they figure out the location? Just missed it.
So you have to.
The location's already set to the foot. Okay, I missed something else here.
So let's move it closer to this.
Ah, they're just manually moving it. Wait, what's this? Set initial
Transform.
from closest bone. Oh my goodness, there's an option. That's just ridiculous. Okay, that is a very unusual workflow. But it works for me, for what I need to do right now. That'll be fine. Alright, so I move it over here and then right click on it and go set transform from closest bone. Boom! It's now in the right location. That's crazy. So we'll put this down to 5. Oh yeah, it does go a little bit too low. I wonder if I can offset that. So put some value in the Y. Now, do I want to offset it? If I rotate it, will it have a wrong pivot point then? So that's the offset. But I want, I guess, no, because if I don't really want to change the offset because then it's going to tell the joint to go there. That would be bad. Just wish I could like offset the geo from its pivot. No, that's current transform probably is like where it's animating from or something. All right. Anyways, we'll just keep it there by the joint, and we'll just do this again. This time we're gonna use the wing. So this is gonna be the wing joint, and it's gonna move to where the wing controller goes. So now it's being driven dynamically because it's being executed on every tick. And so I should be able to move this and also forget that the the undo does not work. It's super annoying. It undoes, but it doesn't undo. Maybe if I disconnect this. No, it doesn't work. So I need to pick the wing control again, and then offset the current transform to 0. So the offset transform is one thing, but the current transform is referring to, I guess, the movement that I've done from its original position. So yeah, zeroing out that current transform is pretty good. I was going to try rotating it, that's what I wanted to do originally. Alright, so there's kind of our steering mechanism. Okay, so I guess that worked. Let's try and compile that, save it, and see if we can get this tested in the sequencer before we try to make this any more fancy than it needs to be. Actually, like fancy meaning, let's see if we can get that control to be like where it's supposed to be, but keep the pivot down at the bottom. It's probably doable. You just have to like do some fanciness here where you're saying take the transform of the controller, offset it by X number of numbers, and then put it in the transform of the rotation. And that might be what you have to do. I don't know, but still, the pivot would be in the middle. Anywho, we'll just do the other part. So I'll close that. Let's save everything. We're gonna create a sequencer. Oh, interesting that I put the spaceship in the flying blueprint. That's probably not where I wanted to put it. Move it here instead. There it is. Okay, I made a folder for cinematics. And we're going to create the sequencer file, which is our movie file, movie scene. We'll call it shot 1. Open it up, and we'll bring in our. Oh, so I'm missing a step here. We have to look for. Oh, there it is. Animation is there. Nice. I guess it was there. No, I guess maybe it came in because the control rig came in. That makes sense. Let me just check one. Check the plugins for another thing here. Okay. So we got animation controls on. Now we just have to get our line. I think you have to put the actual control rig object into the sequencer here. Always a bit of a pain. No, that's not how that works. This is an important step. That I haven't figured out yet. Something about bringing this in here. Don't know how to do it yet. I'm not sure what I'm missing. I'm missing something. If they ever talk about it in this video. Actually, there is like an animation one too. Oh, they have a control rig sequence. I think they've changed that workflow since then though. Let's go see. Control rig gizmo library. There's that control rig gizmo library we were talking about before. I was trying to find again. Doesn't matter, we don't have any custom gizmos, but Sarah, just click on the control rig within the sequencer. It should work. What do you mean? How do I do that? Just click on the control rig within sequencer. Is there a control rig that I'm supposed to be using? Edit with FK control rig. Oh. Is that what I was supposed to do? Not feeling totally satisfied by that solution. Although, that has really opened up the ability to actually animate and rotate joints themselves as raw joints, which is something that's pretty interesting because that was not there before. Yes, Mervin's like, oh, it worked. Job done. Time to move on. It says maybe click the plus and track control rig, or did you do that? Oh, okay. I can't even remember what I called it. Oh, it's right there. CR. It's just it isn't really accepting my control rig asset for some reason. Probably because it's not the right version, the right type of asset to use. I think that the one that I have in here does not have my control rig on it, and it really, if it did, it should show up the controls over here in the animation tab if it was recognizing it. Oh, here we go. Now it's recognizing it. All right. Well, maybe we're on the right step after all. Have to like. Turn some stuff on. Ooh, there we go. Interaction rig. What does that mean? Like you can have multiple interaction rigs? You can just pick whatever interaction rig you want? I don't even understand that. Why would you have that as an option that would not be turned on by default? Okay, so let's see here. Look at that. Undo still doesn't do anything. Oh, it got reset. That blue circle is really hard to select. Ooh, that's better. Oh. Oh, there we go. Like, can you work, please? Oh, oh my goodness. I'm just so used to hitting undo when I want something to be undone, and for some reason it's... Oh, okay, so I guess when I select it away or something? I do not know what I just did there. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait, what's Sarah saying? I've only used the MetaHuman controller, but it should be similar. You're right, it should be similar. I'm kind of expecting it to be a very similar experience. I've done this like kind of workflow like a number of times from different perspectives, doing different things, and it's always been like a very clumsy process. But anyway, let's say we're ready to animate, and we're going to try to do some animations here. Hopefully. I'm going to put on my auto key, and I'm going to move this object somewhere. What did I do wrong? Spoke too soon. It's totally disconnected. try opening it again. See if that does anything better. Well, it's saving that I've moved it. Not doing anything for this fact that it's not connected anymore. It is so confused right now. It's hilarious. Whenever I undo, it's like total disaster. I almost wonder if it's something to do with, like, I'm picking it in the world. Only select control rig controls. Coordinate system per widget. Local transforms for each space. Gizmo scale. That's funny that they use the word gizmo twice. Axis scale. Maybe the object, if I brought the skeletal mesh into the world as an object that isn't spawnable, and then I open the cinematic and drag it in as an object from my world outliner. And then I use edit with FK control rig, or what was the other options? Bake to control rig, filter asset by skeleton. Bake to control rig. What? Did I click on bake control rig? The heck? Try that one more time. Spaceship. Edit with FK. Oh yeah, they do seem to think that's what I want to do. Alright. Interaction rig. Spaceship. Select the control. Hey, we figured it out. Yay. Oh, man. The life of a technical artist. Never a dull moment. So I guess the lesson learned here was that you can't have it as a spawnable. There's two types of things you can have in a sequencer. You can have a spawnable or a whatever it currently is. Unspawnable, I forget what the word is, but basically where it resides in your level. So I guess you can't move an object that isn't residing in your level. It has to be there. I shouldn't speak so soon though. It could very well break in my next move. And then I'll be back to square one again. So. Alright. Auto key. Oh yeah, see? Maybe it's auto key that breaks everything. Oh no, it's still back again. Alright. Definitely something a little funky going on, but I'm just gonna go with it. And we're gonna basically key the transform of this object. Move it and rotate it somewhere. Put it in local space here. Nice thing about this environment for my template is that I've got things I can animate around, which is quite handy. So we'll key that here with my auto key. Should be already keyed. Oh, that's gonna be so annoying if I gotta watch it jump out of the way out the whole time. I doubt this is even gonna work. Also noticing that the keys are not listening to me at all. Yeah, this is definitely not where the keys should be. Okay, what am I missing here? You know what's interesting is that it's actually stuck. It's stuck in the position that I'm keying it. So, which I know it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but like if I move these values, if I move this object, we should be seeing. Hold on. Yeah, we should be seeing these values change, but they're not. So it's really not, this is not the object I'm supposed to be keying at all. FK control rig is not the right one. I'm gonna guess. We need to like somehow use the control rig that we've built instead of just FK control rig. Zoe log, hello. I don't think it's a bug. It's just I think I'm just doing it wrong. Because our control rig is called. Oh, sorry, is called CR spaceship. And I believe, although I'm about to get it proven wrong. Yeah, I'm about to get proven wrong. Oh yeah, no, because this isn't the one with the mannequin demo. Yeah, well, FK, I mean, I feel like FK just means like joints that can rotate. So it's like the bare bones of animating on joints. So it's ignoring my controls that I built. So I guess if I just moved the joints themselves, it probably would work. But I'd have to like have them picked. Grab the root. Yeah, see, I can't not pick them. There we go. No, I can't even translate them. Yeah, anyways, I feel like you can move the joints, you just can't move the... We're just not animating the control rig yet. You gotta figure it out. Zoe says, how's the parent? Check the joints. Well, I mean, you're right. These don't look like they're parented to each other. But I think they are. I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, so they're parented. So I can move the joints. When you take a look at the control rig objects here, so we've got the root is this object, which moves. And I have not figured out how to undo my movements yet, so that has to be manually put back. And then we have the wing, which is separate. Where's my gizmo for that? Wait, where's my gizmo for anything? Okay, I don't know what's going on right now. Oh, I'm looking at the gizmos. Oh yeah, sorry. There you So that moves, you can move that as well. So together they're parented, they move. I have my controls there. Hey, that undid to actually work that time. And it's driving basically each control is driving the bone, which is good. So now I just want to make it so that in my sequencer, these controls are actually what I'm animating with, but I'm not seeing it in my list of options for controls in here. So it's a missing step somewhere. I'm gonna go back to the videos. We're gonna see if we can figure this out. Oh, that's not it. Where's the video gone? Oh man, did I like close it? Oh, jeez. Oh no, here it is. Oh, what's this? Was I almost there? Mannequin, asset-based control rig. Oh, yes, that's what I want. I do not have that option. Have baked to control rig. Filter asset by skeleton. And an edit with controller, FK controller, which was what I already did. Maybe you can't do it while you have it there. Nope. Problem is, this particular tutorial is made for. Oh no, this isn't. That was going to be made for 4.21, but it's not. Because they're telling you to make a control rig sequencer, which I don't know if they do that anymore. But let's, because we've already got the control rig plugin loaded. We'll just review the steps here. Here's our control rig plugin turned on. And restarted since then. When I create a new animation, there's control rig, level sequencer. Sorry, what was I reading again? Man, I gotta go back to that video. Or the tutorial. Control rig sequence, yeah, so it's like not a level sequence, it's a control rig sequence. So they don't have, and I think they've, like, I remember seeing it back in earlier versions, but then they got rid of it ever since then. Or at least they've moved it and I can't figure out where it is. Maybe it's right in front of my face, I just can't read it. I don't know. I have not seen it for a long time. Seems like you are already using a control rig. All of this is so new to me, says Robert. Yeah, you and me both, for sure. We're both like going, what? That's why I'm trying to tackle it today, because I want to make sure that I want to get a sense of how this works, because it's like it's been around for quite a few versions, but it's really only just recently that they're really trying to tackle it. And I keep using it and then going, and then I've never really like done it from scratch yet. So today I'm like, let's do a real basic from scratch thing. And sure enough, when you do that, you're like right into all these little nuances that the people that know how to do it take it for granted. Double click on the sequencer asset to open in sequencer. Click the track button and select actor to sequence to add your desired skeletal mesh to the sequence. Click the plus button on the FK control rig. It says add your skeletal mesh, so I'm not doing that wrong. And then click the plus button and select your FK rig and add the control rig. Okay, maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Let me try it again. We go into here. We've added our skeletal mesh. Then I'm gonna hit plus. There it is, control rig. Asset-based control rig. There's our control rig spaceship. All right. So my mistake was I was right-clicking on the track to try to find it, which they do have this option here. But what I was supposed to do was hit the plus button and then grab it from, well, I guess they don't have it anymore because I've already used it, but that was where the option was. So here's our actual control rig based on the one that we made instead of just a default vanilla FK one that was auto-generated by Unreal, I assume. And now we're talking about, these are wing underscore controls, which is stuff that I created. That's the name of this star with, it's not the joint, it's the actual star in the object. So we'll keep going now. Yay! I'm gonna add some keys here and we'll move it over into the right place. Okay, and then we'll scrub forward. Can't really tell what kind of timeline we got here. These are 30 frames. So we'll move it here. We got auto key on. Yeah, see now it's popping in keys, and when I move it and rotate it, you can see the values are all changing down here, which is much more satisfying. So I guess I'll just rough out the sort of the basics of where I'm going to put this so far. Go here. Oh, there's our little gimbal flip there. This is such a common problem when you're dealing with, even like if you're trying to do camera movements and stuff in games. It's like, why didn't that rotate the right way? So I'm gonna guess I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna make a key in the middle next time. We'll take this, bring it around. It's gonna gimbal lock. Or gimbal flip. I don't even know if it's called gimbal flip in this case or not, but it definitely has the same symptoms. And then in the middle, I'm gonna rotate it this way and see if it figures it out. No. What's weird about it is I was kind of expecting to see really obvious like two curves crisscrossing during that period of time and then I could fix it, but I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing like, well, I guess that's not true. Red is kind of jumping on one way and blue is jumping the other way. When I compare them directly to each other, it's like one has a much different value than the other. So, I don't know, I feel like maybe this is supposed to be going down instead of up. That's where the problem is. All right, we'll go with that. I'm gonna take a look at the translation because they don't seem very good either. What a pain in the butt, eh? Like, all you wanted to do was make it go around in a circle, and it's like, oh, it's like a 3-hour job. Okay. And I guess the whole point of why I was doing this was to animate the back end. So now I can't see it because I'm traveling. Everything's moving too fast. Let's see how fast that actually plays. It's not too bad. So I'm gonna do, oops, I'm gonna try and see if we can get that back end here. I'm starting to have too much fun animating right now. I'm like, oh, and then I gotta get it to rotate. Do this. Oh no! Wow, I'm really discovering some struggle points today. It's ridiculous. I've only got 6 minutes to go, and I'm like, I can't stop it from breaking. See, I kind of think this is like, basically we're hitting like a 360 flip on these rotations here, which I don't know why it keeps defaulting to the wrong direction, which is kind of frustrating. But it keeps trying to like gimbal correct it or something maybe, and it puts it from negative 180 degrees to positive 180 degrees, which during your tween you're getting like this crazy like basically reverse correction rotation. In Maya, if you take that, you know, there's an Euler filter option in your curve editor, and that would like do the correction exactly what we're seeing here. But this is doing it, and you're not even, it's not even broken. Like they're trying to fix something before it's even broken. Kind of like get a lot of bit of like as if it's a drone and there's some sort of back end that's like fixing and correcting pieces here. You can get it to like do some quick movements. Alright, let's see if that actually looks like anything at all. Yeah, it's got kind of cooler at the back there. The beginning looks a little floaty. Oh, I just keyed all of them. Just key the top half here. Trying to get it so that it stays still and then we do the correction. Trying to do something fancy there. Yeah, I mean, it's going somewhere anyways. I'm running out of time. I said the M word. can't think of what the M word is. It was so crass. Don't remember what it was. Oh, Audrey's catching that it's at the end of the stream. Oh, I said Maya. The M word. Oh, yes, when I was talking about, like, the gimbal lock. Yeah, so you're... And Audrey's right. I'm about to wrap up the stream here. We're definitely getting to a point where we have all the elements here. It's going well. I just threw a camera in there as well so we could have a camera cuts track. So that we're not just floating around in whatever camera we want. And there's our little drone that's flying around, doing our animation of a control rig. It's actually worked out really nice that we managed to get to a point where everything is kind of working at the end of our stream here. So we can definitely sort of take that and escalate it a little bit more, make it into a bit more of an interesting piece here. Jeez, you know, I wanted to try to go into my full screen camera here, and it's like my Stream Deck is broken. I feel like that's where my problems are coming from. My Stream Deck is just dying on me. I don't know what the deal is there. Maybe I just had to click on a window or something. But anyway, so thanks for everybody for showing up. I really appreciate it. We had a nice stream here where we got to learn something new that obviously I was struggling for a while, but I think it's a really nice stepping stone. When you get something small like that figured out, it's a nice way to break into new tools. You just give yourself a low sort of bar of what you're supposed to achieve and then try to get it done, and then when you get that finish you're like, oh, that was fun and exciting, I'm gonna make something else, and what else can we do next? That usually works pretty good rather than getting stuck on something really huge and complicated. But anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for everybody for showing up, and I will see you all again next week at the same time. Alright, take care everybody.